in order for me to make decisions that are going to enhance my life.
So here you are, you're unhappy. How did you start dealing with, you said that then you had to start dealing with
Yeah,
this underlying,
I had to
how did you
ask
deal with it?
I had to ask for help, first of all, and I asked for help in a lot of different ways. I had to not keep all of it inside because at first I was keeping it all inside and it was killing me. Before I would walk into class during that time period, I would be in my car crying. I would be shaking when I would have to take tests. My hands would be sweating. I couldn't sleep at night. I lost my appetite. So many things. So I had to start asking for help, letting people know that I didn't have it all together. And one of the ways that I received help was I asked friends to tutor me in school. So I was able to be tutored by my classmates and suddenly I was able to do better. And that was the interesting thing. At first I thought I couldn't do the work. And then I gathered all these tools and people helped me to learn how to study this material because an American, not of Chinese descent, stepping into the world of Chinese medicine is a learning curve because it's a different way of viewing life in the world. And so I asked friends for help. They helped me and I started to excel in the classes. And then I had to really ask myself, well, now that you're doing really well in these classes, are you sure you want to leave? It's like, yeah, I'm still sure that I want to leave, but it's great to know that I could do this and I could be a kick-ass Chinese medicine doctor, but it's just not what I want. So I also took some suggestions from friends about things I could do to change my diet because I was feeling all this anxiety and yet continuing to drink caffeine, which is not a good match. Caffeine just
Yeah.
creates more anxiety within you. So I had to stop that. And then also I would go to my spiritual center and I would talk to spiritual counselors and share with them what was going on with me. And oftentimes I would cry on their shoulder. Bless all those people who listened to me because I was going through it, but I'm so grateful that they were willing to hold space for me. Then I went to my recovery meetings and I stood up and I shared what was going on with me. And what I learned early on in recovery is that a problem shared is a problem halved.
Yeah.
And that's so true. So
Mhm.
that helped me tremendously. And then lastly, Qigong. Qigong helped me to really integrate all that I was learning and experiencing in my body, let go of whatever energies weren't serving me anymore, like the tension that was building up in my body, all the shame I was feeling in me was of no use to me. And it helped me to process all that and move it through my body. And it also helped me to clear my mind. And I was able to zoom out on the situation that I was in, because when we're going through difficult times, it's like we're in a tunnel and we can't see far to the left or the right. We can just see straight ahead.
Yeah.
And that experience of doing the medicine of Qigong, it helped me to zoom out and just get space in my body and in my heart and in my mind to see the situation for what it was. And also to know that there's a bigger picture here and it's much more complex and nuanced than what I was experiencing in the moment, and that everything is going to be okay.
So you were already doing Qigong at that time. You had already started practicing that.
It was part of the program at the school. And so
Ah, of course.
just in
Okay.
taking the classes, as I was moving through that experience in real time, I was able to shift my way of thinking about it and experiencing it and my perspective and my perceptions of what was happening. I thought to myself at the time, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? And it was really happening for me. What I try to do in the book, in the practices that I teach in the book, and as well as what I teach in my membership community, SWE Studios, I try to teach people self-care practices, because it's all, I think, at the core of everything that I teach. It's just about self-care, and we all need self-care, and most of us aren't getting enough of it. And self-care helps us to be more resilient in life and helps us to manage stress. And another thing that it helps us do, it helps us to really tune into our bodies, to feel what we're feeling in our bodies, and also tune into how we feel emotionally, and also to check in with what we're thinking, what our thoughts are. So it gives us that opportunity to just check in and be with self and be present. And that's really, really important. It has tremendous benefits just in terms of our mental health and the health of our body, mind, and spirit.
What's the most common question you're asked when you tell people what you do?
Well, actually, the most common question that people ask me is, what is Qigong?
Yeah, I would
A,
imagine
a lot
that
of
is
people
exactly
don't
what
know.
I would guess that's probably the most common question.
Yeah, and I'm happy to answer that question to anyone who
Yes.
is listening and
Yes,
doesn't
go
know what
ahead.
Qigong is. So Qigong is an ancient Chinese healthcare system that combines flowing movements, standing postures, deep breathing, and focused intention to activate, cultivate, and circulate life force energy. And we all could use more energy, right? And the way that we deplete ourselves of energy most commonly is through stress. And so stress is a big trigger. And one of the ways that we can learn to manage our stress is through a practice like Qigong. When you break the word Qigong down, Qi means energy and breath, Gong means work or skill. So the practice of Qigong is the practice of becoming more skillful at managing our own energy. And that's what Qigong is in a nutshell.
How do you get such incredible people that on your podcast? I'm like, I don't know. I'm doing this so then the universe meets me. Like it just works.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
an incredible thing. So how do you not go after all the shiny objects everywhere? Like you gave up caffeine because it wasn't good for you. How do you stay focused and not just go
Yeah.
after everything?
Well, let's be clear. I gave up caffeine for a period of time.
Okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
still
Okay.
drink caffeine, but I don't drink it as much as I used to, or as yeah, or as often as I do. And if I can go a day without drinking it and it doesn't have great effect on me. So that's that. How do I, gosh, I don't know. I think one of the things that I've just come to realize in my life is that there aren't a whole lot of things that I absolutely that oftentimes less is more. And not that I'm living the life of a monk or anything like that, but there's so much that I don't have to have or don't need. And what I find myself trying to do is really feel into and appreciating what I have. Because it's so easy to not appreciate what you have and just constantly going after that next thing or that shiny thing. And you're not really appreciating the richness of what you already have. So I think as a spiritual practice to do that more and more and more, whether it's physical things in my life or even just like relationships in my life, I'm really feeling into those more and appreciating them on a different level. That's basically what I'm trying to do. And it's helping a lot. And maybe someone who's listening might resonate with that. Shame is one of those things that progress through it ebbs and flows. I'm 20 years sober and still things pop up where I'm like realizing, oh, there's some shame here. Okay, how do I unravel that? And one of the ways that I unravel it is to become aware enough of when I feel it. Like what happens to me when I feel shame? Do I get a knot in the pit of my stomach, or do I feel like a sinking in my heart, or do I get, does my heart start to race? Do I start to get sweaty? Whatever my shame symptoms are, just becoming more familiar with that. So when it happens, I can sort of follow the breadcrumbs and say, oh, this is shame. And then try not to keep it a secret. Share it with someone, share it with a trusted friend. Not everyone has earned the right to hear your shame. I love when Brene Brown talks about shame, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things that she has said. And I think it's so true.